Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Assassin's Creed Mirage. I played it on the PS5, it's also available on the PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. So let's get into it. This is basically an origin tales of Basim. You may remember him from such games as Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But this takes place in and around Baghdad, and once again, it is dealing with the Order. We've grown kind of familiar with them since they're the new equivalent of the Templars, I guess the predecessors of the Templars. And if you've played an Assassin's Creed game, especially one of the more recent ones, then you kind of know how the story works. I didn't feel like this game did anything to really break new ground. It did do some things that I think they thought were going to be a big, clever reveal or twist, and I saw them coming miles away. That being said, I think it was a totally adequate story, and it worked well enough to keep the game moving. There are definitely some characters that are more compelling than others. There are ones where you'd like to see more of and where their story could go. But overall, like I said, it's adequate. Let's get into the audio, and the music is good. I think the Assassin's Creed franchise has always had very good music. I can't really think of a game where I've ever been disappointed with the music, and this goes among them. Like, the music is always fantastic, in my opinion, in the Assassin's Creed games. As for the voiceover work, I think it's very well done. They brought in some very talented people, obviously, and they really delivered, and they bring life to their characters. Then you've got the sound effects, which, once again, the sound effects are awesome in Assassin's Creed games, and I think they need to be to really build those historical cities. And they do a great job of building these historical places and making them feel alive through sound, through the chatter of the people in the streets, things like that. I think they did an awesome job with. But let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and good news, bad news, I guess. Bad news first, though. Based on all the stuff I had been hearing before this was going to be like a return to form for Assassin's Creed. And it is not. It is not the return to ye olde Assassin's Creed style games. It is not that at all. The good news is if you're a fan of the Assassin's Creed RPGs they've been doing, like Valhalla and Odyssey, this continues that. So as I basically just said, this game is an open world action RPG because that's what Assassin's Creed has become. And I'm not necessarily complaining about that being what it's become. I am complaining about how a lot of the marketing, a lot of the articles and videos and shit that were coming out before this were basically selling this as we're returning to like ye olde Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, Revelations, Brotherhood, all that stuff. And it's not. It's a return to those in the sense of being considerably smaller, but gameplay-wise, it's very far removed. I will say, it being a smaller game does limit the story to an extent, but it does also make it less daunting to get into. That being said, let's get into the gameplay and whatnot for real. You have your main missions, you have a considerable number of side missions, you have like a bounty board, which is really just small side missions that you can repeat, and you get special tokens from those that can help you with the main missions, although I really didn't find that too necessary. There are also some of the tokens that can open specific chests so you can get more gear. There's the usual amount of exploration and other just kind of almost hidden side missions. But this being an RPG, you complete missions, you level up, you enhance your abilities by leveling up, just like the previous games. Unfortunately, this doesn't do certain things as well as the previous games. Like, the parkour is some of the less functional parkour. I really think they hit their stride many games ago, and Syndicate was probably one of the better ones. But the number of times I got thrown off of a building for no reason because I'm trying to climb it and the game just goes, fuck you, jump off. Or you're jumping into walls that you're not trying to climb things you're not trying to, etc. Things like that. Like, you push the buttons and he tries to do the parkour, but they just do it in the worst way possible, and it's something that could probably definitely use some serious patching. But then you've also got the combat, which I just felt had such weird timing to it and just didn't quite work as well as previous games. I just felt off the entire time I was doing the combat. I really never got into the swing or the vibe of it. I mean, it worked well enough for me to get through the game, but I was never, like, enjoying it the way I have in previous Assassin's Creed games. They give you a horse or camel, but you don't really need it that much because most of your time is spent in the city, and it's not really the best way to get around in a city. It really only comes in handy on the few times, or if you're really trying to 100% this and go out and explore in the desert where stuff's really wide open. But if you're focused on the main story and doing missions that take place in the city, horse is kind of useless. Oh, also want to comment, in the combat, there were a lot of times where I was like hitting enemies and they don't flinch, they don't move, you wouldn't really know you were hitting them or doing any damage to them except for watching their health bar go down, which is really frustrating because if they like flinch at you and barely tap you, it completely disrupts everything you're doing. So that was just obnoxious and didn't work. When it comes to the gameplay, it was functional enough, but it's not functioning as well as it needs to be. Oh, but before I get out of the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, I do think the, like, glitch in the Matrix assassination, that was cool. I liked that addition. Let's get into the controls, and, you know, they're the controls you would expect from the Assassin's Creed RPG. They're mapped out that way, and they work that way. But I will say, there were definitely times where I was pushing buttons and the game was like, nah, you didn't do that. Or, like I said, I was doing the parkour and I was climbing something and my character would just jump the fuck off for no reason. And, like, I wasn't trying to jump off, I was pushing up to climb up, and he would just suddenly decide, I'm gonna jump way the fuck to the left and fly off the building, and it did actually kill me several times. It was more than slightly obnoxious. So even the controls are not like 100%, they're not where they should be at. Last but not least, the graphics and visuals, and it's a beautiful game. Some of the smaller details, hair and whatnot, could be better. We've seen better in other games, but like the clothing and the texturing in the clothing and the details and designs in the clothing, holy shit, that's phenomenal. Like, I didn't realize it at first, but I was looking at one of Basim's shirts and it has like actually like imprinted designs in it, and I couldn't tell at first, and I'm looking closer and I was like, oh my god, that just looks amazing, that detail. I think from a visual standpoint though, like, they do such a good job, and you know, Ubisoft has done such a good job just in general bringing these historical worlds to life. The amount of research that goes into it and making it feel like a proper Middle Eastern city in ye olde times, the amount of work they put into that is just always mind-blowing. Whether it's the cats, the animals out in the wild, the people wandering about, the people going on their like day-to-day errands, running shops, etc. All of that just brings the world to life in a way that I wish more games nailed. But you even go beyond that and you just look at, like I said, the character outfits. I think they're phenomenal. I think the amount of detail in each of the outfits is really impressive, and it helps add character to those characters. The only complaint I really had with the visuals is there is some glitchy shit going on, specifically with the parkour. Like, there were times where I was like getting down off of a building and he was doing these really glitchy, weird moves, like he'd let go and then he would practically warp to the next ledge. That was really the only major visual issue I had. I guess there was some texture popping here or there, but overall I think it was a beautiful game. I think they did another phenomenal job with the graphics and bringing characters in the world to life. Which, that's kind of fun to be able to lose yourself in that a bit. It's not the main appeal of a video game for me, but it is enjoyable. So to wrap this up, this is not the Assassin's Creed we were promised, and this is not the Assassin's Creed we need. I'm not saying we necessarily need to go back to ye olde Assassin's Creed. I really do actually enjoy the RPG style, but I wouldn't mind playing some of the older style as well. I do feel overall that this game would benefit from some patching. I know it's not a full price game, which it shouldn't be. Like, if you were to throw this in the franchise at full price, people would feel ripped off because it is a considerably smaller game. I mean, it feels smaller than ye olde Assassin's Creed as well as the recent Assassin's Creed games. So there's that, but like I said, it could function better. There are elements of it that just could function better and bring it up. This feels slightly rushed, like it probably wasn't tested enough. I can say I would recommend it, but wait a while till it's been patched quite a bit, just so that it feels like a much cleaner AAA experience as it should. Okay, in the comments down below, why don't you tell me which Assassin's Creed character deserves another game? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.